At the beginning of June, I decided to make a solo journey to Mongolia, and on the way to my destination, there were a lot of interesting places worth visiting. Also, I planned to make sort of a circle journey, that is to take a different return route, because when you're going back home the same way, it's hard to focus on the road and enjoy the ride. You can't stop yourself from thinking about home if you're returning the same way. I didn't need a visa to cross borders. All I needed was my passport. My intention was to go through different climate zones, though I didn't quite make it to tundra, but I got the feel of taiga. Mongolia is like 2,000 kilometers of desert land, and covering the distance on the bike that is not meant for such conditions was a great deal of a challenge. But not the kind of a challenge that puts to the test my physical strength or my willpower, but rather my resourcefulness and quick wit to find the way out of any predicament that could come my way. You know, what would I do if the bike broke down, and how I would deal with this or that problem, that sort of stuff. The route was planned overnight, and I set my mind on seeing as many of the beautiful places the countries have to offer as I possibly could. The north of Russia, Lake Baikal, Mongolia, Kazakhstan. It's raining, 4 degrees Celsius above zero. I finally made it to Issyk-Kul Lake. So I ended up having quite a lengthy route, over 12,000 miles to cover on this bike. When I understood that I was going to make the journey on this bike, I was ready for it. Mongolia was the hardest part of the journey, but we, the bike and I, survived. The comfort, the feel of the road, the joy of a ride that this bike can give you are really beyond comparison. The first thing we did was we lifted it about 4 inches. We also armored it to protect its essential parts. What I learned from my previous travel experience is that I need these big metal boxes on both sides of the bike where I could put my stuff. The bike itself weighs about 550 pounds, and the baggage adds another 100 pounds to it. The main goal of the journey was to be alone. It was like meditation on wheels and a great way to be by myself for a lengthy period of time. This thing will help me make the movie. In the beginning, my route took me through major cities: Moscow, St. Petersburg. And after St. Petersburg, I headed north. I like to make camp in a place with no people around. This way I have what it takes to make an ideal overnight stop. I can put up a tent, make myself some tea, enjoy the starry sky. Ahead of me lies 750 miles to the most northern Russian town in my journey, Ukhta town. But it doesn't matter. The most important thing is to keep going, enjoying the ride, taking video. In one of my previous journeys, I was taught to do this, to lubricate these parts of the bike every 300 miles. It's not very convenient, but I guess that's it. When I was approaching Ukhta, the temperature dropped to only 4 degrees Celsius above zero, taking me aback as I had been preparing myself mostly for hot temperatures of Mongolia and Kazakhstan. When I was leaving Kharkov, it was 38 degrees Celsius above zero. Now it's 1 below zero. Too bad I haven't prepared myself well enough for below zero temperatures. The warm clothes I took with me are of little help. Today I'm heading towards Ukhta. It's 400 miles of wood road. Luckily, I'll be there by sunset. I remember very well the part of the journey between Ukhta and Perm. It was very hard as there were really bad sandy roads. In addition, I had 100 miles of extremely bad roads. I want to go from Troitsko-Pechersk to Perm region, but there are no roads here, only direction. There is one road, but road is too big a name for it. It's more of a path. Come on. Come on. I had covered around 60 miles along the path. It was getting worse and worse, and finally I understood that I couldn't go any further. Let's go back.
Ну что, у меня такое ощущение, что
I still have the feeling I could have reached Perm region following this path. Though they say it's impossible, I stopped a couple of miles short of the footpath that could get me to my destination. Going at the speed of 8 miles an hour along a clay path, I had some really hard times trying to keep the bike from falling down. Then I went back to Syktyvkar to hit the federal road to Perm. I couldn't help but stop and take video of this beauty. It's awesome, but the road is calling me on. I'm ready. My way lay through such Russian cities as Perm, Novosibirsk, Krasnoyarsk, Irkutsk, around 3,000 miles of well-paved roads. The temperature is 12-15 degrees Celsius above zero. Unbelievable place. I am in a little birch wood now. Though there is a railway nearby, I think it won't bother me much. The climate has changed. When I had left the Ural Mountains behind me, it became much warmer. It feels like real taiga. It's warm, I don't need a tent, there are no mosquitoes here or anything. I don't feel the urge to reach my destination as soon as I can. I simply enjoy the ride itself.
Baikal, Mongolia, то есть, в принципе, все интересно, в первую очередь тем, что ты едешь сквозь него. Вчера мне вообще понравилось.
Yesterday I had a stopover in Perm to fix my metal boxes, and these guys in the motor workshop spent 5 or 6 hours helping me, and refused to charge me anything for that. I couldn't believe it. The only technical problem I had was these metal boxes that kept breaking down. An adventure a day keeps sadness away. That's it, off we go. The bike is made for this kind of a road, so everything went well, and I had a pleasant and easy ride to Lake Baikal. People keep asking me if I feel bored traveling alone, and I say, what's the point of going with somebody if you meet so many interesting people on the way? People that can help you, and people that are just nice to talk with. One of my dreams was to reach Lake Baikal. The lake itself and the place where it's located are extremely beautiful. It's only 120 miles to the lake from Irkutsk. The weather was warm and sunny. It was velvet season and there were no tourists around. I chose to visit an island on the lake. On this island, I could test my bike in the conditions that were close to what was waiting for me in Mongolia.
Около 40 километров дороги, туда едут либо джипы.
25 miles along the road, better fit for crossovers, took me to the most northern point of the island, Cowboy Cape. I have reached my first passing point, Lake Baikal. I have covered about 6,000 miles. I left my stuff in Irkutsk at the place of my new friend Igor, he's a biker, and made a light trip here to Baikal. The place is divinely beautiful. The sun is shining, it's 14 degrees Celsius above zero. Baikal is like a sea, and the climate here is like in the Crimea. It's also very quiet. I'm really happy. I swam in the lake and washed my bike. When I first came to the water, I tasted it to see if it was salty. The road to this place was pretty rough. When you have about 1 foot of sand under your bike, you literally have to walk, pushing it forward. And you may go on like this a mile or two, but when you know you have 20 miles of this kind of the road lying ahead, you get angry, speed up, and inevitably fall down. It's the 5th time I have fallen down here at Baikal. More is yet to come. When I was going there, I fell down 3 or 4 times, and on the way back, I don't know, I lost count. Then I returned to Irkutsk, fixed my bike and headed towards Mongolia. And when I was going along the lake coast, I came across this great place. About 13 feet above the shore there was a table with green grass around it and a fantastic view of the lake. I welcomed the opportunity to once again savor the beauty of the lake, and I thought maybe I should stay here a little longer, because I don't know when, if at all, I will come back here. When I was going through Bashkiria towards Mongolian border, I saw that the scenery had changed. There were fewer and fewer trees, and now it was mainly flat land. I spent a night there, setting off to the border the following morning. I didn't know if I was ready for the journey that lay ahead. When I crossed the border, I hit this well-paved road about 200 miles long, and was thinking, what's so special and difficult about Mongolia? It's an ordinary steppe. I didn't want to talk with anyone, I just suddenly felt extremely tired, and all I wanted was to find a hotel and get some really good sleep. When I left Ulaanbaatar the next morning, I was thinking, the road is good, and they told me that there are no roads in Mongolia. So far the road has been great. The views of the flatland and the hills are fantastic. So here I am in Mongolia, finally. In the middle of the steppe, the bushes, and the hills. I did 120 miles and the road ended. I also had GPS navigation problems. There was a good, well-trampled road. Unfortunately, it wasn't the only one. There were 6 or 7 well-trampled roads all going the same way. They wind, but I see where I should go. I have about 550 miles of sandy steppe roads. The sun and the map helped me find my way around. Solo journeys are hard, and I felt how much harder it was now that the good road was left behind. Psychologically, it was very difficult. I'm not professional in sand riding, I'm just learning. I wasn't happy first about going a well-paved road, and now I understand that this kind of a road makes it almost impossible to cover the 200 miles to the nearest town. The speed that I'm riding at is pretty high, but it takes up a lot of energy. Later, I got used to sand riding. I reduced my speed, but the first day was really hard. The rear view mirror is loose. Need to fix it. We keep riding alright. That's the way to go. There are a lot of roads here. I don't know why I chose this one. Hopefully the road will improve. Okay, I gotta get going. Later that day, when wading through a river, I had to put my feet in the water to keep the bike from falling down. It was already evening, my feet were wet, and I figured it's time to stop for the night. I found a little settlement and was welcomed by a Mongolian family in their home, Yuta. They gave me the best seat. Locals certainly speak no English, so we communicated using gestures. Yeah, you will see yourself on TV. Let's drink, shall we? Would you like some? Okay, let's drink. Mongols are like children. They are very simple and unsophisticated. Mongolia is a sparsely populated country. Only 3 million people live there, and 3 Yutas make a settlement. On the one hand, they have kept their traditional living style, but on the other hand, they have satellite TV and solar batteries. I had a really good time with this Mongolian family, but in the morning I got back on the road. And this day was even worse. The bike frame broke. Our correspondent reports from the battlefield. The bike frame is broken. Though it's not the biggest problem, to make things worse, the bike won't start. Let's see what I can do about it. Maybe someone will come and help me, I don't know. This made me realize that I need to take the boxes off, because they were breaking my bike. I traded the 2 metal boxes for a bag. Also, these guys welded the bike frame. At least they tried to. Welding is a national Mongolian way to fix pretty much anything, from bicycles to cars. I was doing 35 miles an hour, the road was wet, and suddenly the bike skidded as if on ice, and I had a painful fall. Today is the hardest day I've had in this journey. I have done 120 miles, but had a number of falls. This crash helmet here saved my life. So Mongolia is wonderful and is getting even more so. I don't know what will come next, but the fun I'm having now is for real. It made me realize that I should slow down. I find it really hard to believe that I've made it to Altai town. It's 1 degree Celsius below zero. There's snow outside and on the roofs. It has really been the hardest day, but I have survived. I'm not sure if I am dead or alive. Every mile came at a price. Especially when it was raining, 1 degree below zero, and there was no road. I did it. It was a surreal moment, and I was thinking, where am I? What am I doing here? Today's Saturday, the sun has come out, the bike frame is broken to pieces. Yesterday I did 80 miles, but the frame broke again. It felt like Groundhog Day. I'm stuck in the middle of Mongolia. You can't travel in such weather. It's 500 miles to the Russian border. I'm thinking whether to transport the bike on a truck or maybe try and complete the rest of the journey, or maybe even leave it here altogether. I don't know. The technology of the repairs was pretty simple. All we did was we cut these little plates out of a big sheet of metal and welded them onto the frame. And that took us the whole day. So we welded out of nothing. And when the job was done, the hopelessness of my situation seemed to have faded away. I got back on the road, riding quite fast, but slowing down when wading through puddles. The road was dry and the ride was a joy. With Mongolian experience on my resume, I could afford to ride at 40 miles an hour, almost letting go of the handlebars. The road was pretty rough, but for me, after those days of hell, it was a real pleasure. After Mongolia, the Altai region seemed like paradise. A civilized kind of paradise with good roads. There were green trees, brooks and everything. It is as if Mongols were in exile in this lifeless, landlocked terrain. And life starts only when you cross its border with Russia. The warmth of the sun and the beauty of the nature seemed like a gift, or rather a compensation from above, for all my Mongolian adventures. I visited a local private motor fest, spent a night there and understood that I had to keep going. When I reached Barnaul, I did the bike maintenance in a good workshop, which took one day. Then I headed towards Kazakhstan. And when I reached Pavlodar the following day, my body, weakened by the Mongolian experience, gave in to the stress and told me to have a rest. I was very weak, I came down with fever. I've been here for 5 days, and now that I feel much better, I figure I gotta get back on the road tomorrow. The energy levels are back to normal. It's my last day here. Ahead of me I have 2,800 miles along Kazakhstan roads. It must be milder than Mongolia, but I wouldn't bet on it. When I got back on the bike after the illness and did a couple of miles, it gave me pain all over my body, and especially in the back. It made me understand the importance of good physical shape. I had covered about 9,000 miles and didn't feel tired or anything. All because I had been doing my regular morning exercises. And it was the break that caused these problems. So I resumed my morning exercises in order to regain my physical shape. Kazakhstan roads were pretty good, so it took me only 2 days to reach the most southern point, and then I decided to go to Issyk-Kul Lake in Kyrgyzstan, which is about 120 miles from Kazakhstan border. It was 2 degrees Celsius below zero, it was raining, so all I wanted was to quickly get to the lake and back. Why did I go there? I don't know. Anyway, when I reached Issyk-Kul Lake, the weather had become even worse. The road was hardly passable, which reminded me of Mongolia. It's raining, it's 4 degrees Celsius above zero. I finally made it to Issyk-Kul Lake, which is behind me. It's raining, just look at the road I've traveled. The same way I will return to Kazakhstan. It's beautiful, really beautiful. The weather is really bad. It had become worse at the wrong moment. It's my most southern point of the journey. And in the evening, I was already back in Kazakhstan. A real Kazakhstan. It wasn't what I had expected to find there. The road was too easy, especially in comparison with Mongolia. So in 2 days I was in Aktubinsk. I had a little rest there, and in the morning I continued my journey. I had about 900 miles to cover to get home. I spent a night in Saratov, and the following day I headed for my birth town, Kazahstan, which was about 500 miles away. I dropped by my parents' country house. They knew I was traveling, but had no idea I was going to visit them. I stayed there for 1 day and left for Kharkov. On the 24th of September, I was back home. It was really hard to start. Solo motor journey to Mongolia, 45 days by myself. It all may sound scary, but I understood it's all a stereotype. You just have to keep going, and whatever will be, will be. I don't have any definite future plans, but I understand that sooner or later I will feel the urge to go somewhere, either Africa or South America.
Оставляю свой путь безвозвратно, тут что комплексами навеян, там, где били неоднократно, но, увы, впустую ничей. А теперь, находясь на распутье, открывая в себе все живое, понимаю, что я на мгновение буду жить без понятия, кто я. И пусть буду я другим, не боюсь пути, только бы найти себя. И пусть не поймут меня, я же не звезда, но горю звездою я.